Yeah.
Oh, you can hear?
Yeah.
You can hear me now? I post long ass videos.
Yeah, I saw. I was looking at your stuff.
Yeah, so it's damn near like a podcast. Like I posted a 3-hour and 30-minute video.
Yeah.
And it got 1 million views. So you already know. How many ads you put in your podcast?
Well, you get like the ads from like obviously YouTube during the time. Obviously, you can put more when it's longer. Mm-hmm. But then you get like brand deals. You could put a couple throughout.
Yeah.
Like a couple like substantial deals for sure. So
okay,
it's dope. It's cool.
Yeah, you on some
I
next
mean,
level.
know.
Next level. So what brand deal you got for this one?
I think there's 2 in this one.
Okay, that's dope.
Yeah. All right. It's funny. I mean, it's not foreign to you. The money you've been doing YouTube for a minute.
Huh? Yeah, it's been like been about 7 years now.
Yeah. Fuck, it's crazy because you're what, 25?
Mm-hmm.
So you got started young.
Yeah, I started when I was like 18, 19, around that age. Actually, I started in like 10th, 11th grade.
Yeah.
I used to buy views. Like,
what?
Yeah. Like
you used to buy views?
When I first started,
I used to buy views.
I used to go on like Google Ads and like buy views and like pay for advertisements for my little skits.
Yeah. I know people who do that still.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people still do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually like pretty popular.
Yeah.
What pushed you into YouTube? Like why? Like you were what, 18, 19? You're like, I'm just gonna do this.
Yeah. I mean, it's really just, I don't know. I just liked it, creating videos, entertaining. I used to make skits for my homies, my friends.
Yeah.
And then they was like, oh, this is funny. Woo. And I just kept doing it. But then it got to a point where I figured out that you can make money from it.
Yeah.
So then that's when I really got into it. The first YouTuber that I really started watching and made me really want to start doing YouTube was FouseyTube.
Wow, that's actually really funny because he was the first YouTuber that I got into YouTube with. Like I had been doing Instagram because Instagram was like, I started way before YouTube. Mm-hmm. And I got to like 600,000, I think, on Instagram. This is like way back in like, must have been 2013, 2014. And he was one of the biggest YouTubers at the time. And I met him at like a celebrity game, like a football game. And I was like, oh, I want to, because he was like kind of overweight. And I was like, I want to get into YouTube and I'll train you and then help me like start my YouTube career. So it's kind of interesting how you said that's the guy you saw.
Yeah, I used to watch, I ain't gonna lie, I used to watch FouseyTube every day. Like,
yeah.
Every single day I watched every vlog.
What about this is actually interesting. What about certain people did you like enjoy? And do you find anyone that you enjoy now on YouTube? Or do you just like make so much content you can't consume it?
Yeah, like I can't really get into nobody now because it's like I do it so much now. It's like I can't really lock in with a creator. I would say the only creator that I really watch is Kai Cenat.
Yeah.
That's the one I really watch now because, it's like my homie at the same time, but at the same time, he's very entertaining. So I'm more in like the stream world when I consume content now versus YouTube. But I don't know. I like the vulnerability. That's what I really like.
On YouTube?
Yeah, like when people just open with it. And that's why I liked FouseyTube so much because nigga was crying and shit on there. I was like, oh, this shit real. This crazy. His dog died and shit. Like, I you know what I'm saying? I was feeling the emotion through the screen. So I'm like, damn, it's like a damn TV show, like a soap opera.
Yeah.
So in my content, I try to be like vulnerable to an extent, but I ain't finna crown that bitch. If I crown there, it's fake, but it's like, it's skit type shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I cry. I'm a big pussy, dude. I get talking to some shit that'll make me cry. But I'm curious though. So you're like in YouTube and then you're like, I'm gonna start doing music, or had you always wanted to do music?
I always been around music, but as growing up, I used to watch conspiracy theories, and I used to be really scared of the Illuminati and all this other bullshit, because I used to watch these YouTube videos like every day, and I'd be like, what the fuck? I don't want to be a rapper. Ooh.
Because of the idea of the Illuminati, like
they just made it scary make it scary for like an artist to really, and not everybody be thinking like, oh, you sold your soul, blah blah blah, all the other shit.
Yeah.
But in reality, that shit ain't even real for real. So it's like I always been around it. My dad was an engineer in my hometown of Pontiac, Michigan. I used to make songs. I got songs when I was like 5.
Do people joke and say you're not really from there?
What, from Pontiac?
Yeah, because I feel like I've seen a few things where people are like, he's not really from there.
Nah. I think people I think Pontiac is such an unknown city
Okay.
And I'm kind of like the one that really put it on because it's like a small city. Like nobody says I'm from Pontiac.
Yeah.
Everybody says I'm from Detroit.
Yeah.
But I say I'm from Pontiac. You know what I mean? Like I don't like to claim another city that I'm not from. So I kind of like put it on the map in a way. But nah, man, my dad was an engineer back in Pontiac. I got songs with my brothers when I was like 5 as a kid. I just always been around it. I just never really took it serious for that one weird reason.
So funny.
So I was like, but I'm a kid, so I'm believing this shit as I'm doing it or whatever. And then as I got into YouTube and I got bigger and bigger, I started making a lot of money. And then I got into that diss track era.
Yeah, I remember
around
that.
Rice Gum era and all that shit.
I remember that.
So then I was like, okay, this shit low key moving. And I knew I can rap. Like I always knew I could do music. It's just something that I never really just like, I'm gonna really do this.
But how do you find that out? You're just like one day in your bathroom fucking singing to yourself? Like,
I used to battle rap in high school, middle school, like at lunch and shit. Like I used to really be rapping. So it'd be like, I always knew I had the skill to rhyme because it is a skill. A lot of people can't rap, so I always knew I had that skill. So I'm like, damn, I want to do this shit. But at the same time, like, I don't know. I'm making so much money on YouTube. I'm going to just focus on this. Then the diss track era really kind of segued me into this career in a way because I was getting so many views and so much love and people was liking it.
To stay in YouTube.
Yeah, like to keep doing the diss track shit.
Yeah.
So I was like, shit, let me go ahead and try to make an original song, my own joint. It really take music serious. So then I made another channel, which is my music channel now. And I was like, I'm going to separate it. And then I just started dropping.
This is what I find so interesting about you versus a lot of other creators who like try to make music. Like you actually really do it. Like you really did it. And you've separated it where like it doesn't feel like you're like a corny YouTuber trying to rap.
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to disrespect anyone, but like that's something that I noticed about you looking at your stuff. Like you separated enough that it doesn't feel that way. Where like most people like they're YouTubers and they start rapping. It's like you're just a YouTuber that's like trying to rap. Mm-hmm. First, like a YouTuber who became like a rapper, and it's somewhat separate.
Yeah, the music industry is really perception. Like this shit is just all how it looks for real. Yeah. So when I put myself around certain people, or you see me on a red carpet, or you see me around this artist and this rapper and doing a feature with this dude, it just make the shit more real for people. Even though it's already real to me, it make it more real to the audience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I feel like other people that did music and did YouTube at the same time like I'm doing kind of like never really took that approach where I'm like, okay, let me focus on the image and the perspective to really make motherfuckers believe what's going on.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about that because I saw an interview you did a couple months ago, Breakfast Club, and you were talking about how like being a rapper and being a YouTuber, like being a YouTuber can kind of affect what it, I guess, like image wise, people perceive a rapper being a rapper versus a YouTuber. Mm-hmm. Why do you think there is that like that line that makes people be like I said earlier, oh, you're just a YouTuber and not take you serious as a rapper?
Because it's like your YouTube audience is like your family. So it's like, think about it. If you got a cousin right now, right? And he start rapping, like you gonna support it. But at the same time, you're like, I know this dude. I grew up with him. What the hell, this is my cousin. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like that's how people look at me for the people that grew up watching me. They like,
they hold you to that.
Yeah, they hold me to that. Like I just seen you doing skits and now you know what I mean? So they think they know me and they think they can like be like, oh nah, he ain't really rapping for real. Like I just like him for this. So some people it's people to this day that watch me every single day that has never listened to one of my songs.
Yeah, well, that's an interesting thing. How people just in general like want to put you in a box.
Yeah, they just choose not to listen to it. But everybody that choose to listen to my music like it.
Yeah.
So the people that don't like it or they say my music is trash or whatever, they have never listened to a song.
Yeah, it's always from the outside in.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's talk about that. That's funny, that idea of like selling your soul to the Illuminati because of the music industry when you were a kid. Mm-hmm. And you got older and then you get more into the music industry. Are you fully independent? So you're signed?
Yeah, I signed in 2018.
Do you still feel like it's obviously there's not like the Illuminati controlling everything, but there's more control, right? Because like they want
I don't know nothing about the Illuminati, by the way. That ain't got.
Well, I'm not saying that's I'm not saying that's happening. I'm just saying like people in charge of these businesses, the labels, they do want and expect certain things.
Yeah, it's a business. It's, you know, they try to make money. It's like they invest in they invest in millions into artists. They want to make money times 10. So, you know, it's cool. My deal is it's a partnership. So I own my masters. I like a 50-50 deal. So it's like my shit more cool than most artists.
Well, you probably knew that because you came in with the business sense from doing YouTube and making your own money prior to even existing in that space where you knew your value.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people, they just kind of get taken because someone sees like a potential, they get signed and, you know, that 360 and they take everything.
Yeah.
And they don't really know what the value really is.
Yeah.
Also something I found out about just randomly. I don't know who was tough. It was Blueface or someone was telling me you have an OnlyFans that is for teaching people how to like make money on the internet.
Yeah, I stopped doing it.
You stopped doing that?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna make my own website and do it because I feel like just kids in general that probably want to learn from me, like how their parents gonna look at it and they go on their phone and they see OnlyFans.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
What the hell you on OnlyFans for? Then they got to explain, oh, I'm learning from DDG. So
I see. Yeah, you should make a site. That's funny, you know.
Yeah.
But was that like, what kind of content were you putting on there?
I was really teaching people like everything I know. So I'd be like, okay, this how you make this content. This how you get the most views, thumbnail, clickbait, titling. You know, I was just teaching people what I know on how to grow as a YouTuber. Yeah. And I feel like everybody wants to learn from me because I started an entertainment company, which I kind of stopped now, but I signed a bunch of creators, and I started off with one female, and she went from 0, mind you. She never did YouTube, never did nothing, Instagram, nothing. Signed her to this entertainment company I came with off the dome and was like, okay, let's work. She went from 0 to 200,000 subscribers in like a month and a half or something like that, making 5 figures.
Yeah.
So it's like when people seen that, I was like, okay, let me do it again. Did it again with another creator. Did it again and kept doing it. So it built my credibility to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm going to make this OnlyFans and teach y'all how I'm blowing these people up and doing this and that. And I made a lot of money.
Yeah. But like that situations, because I've done some management stuff, but don't you ever find yourself in positions where like people kind of, they turn their back on you? Have you been your back turned on? Like someone will be like, you didn't do this for me?
Yeah. Yeah. You know how that be. Everybody want attention.
Yeah.
They want all your attention. So it happens. It is what it is. It's business. But, you know, I don't feel no type of way about it.
Yeah. Speaking of attention, what happened with the whole Ruby Bros and the whole like wearing the shirt thing? And you made it. Did you make a song literally because of that? Like, did you make the song the next week?
I made a song because I'm the type of nigga where I maximize all negativity. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I just seen, even though like internally the whole situation is completely different than what it looked like online. Yeah. I'm just the type of nigga to troll and try to maximize every dollar. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get on stream, talk about it a little bit, make some money, get my clips. I'm gonna go ahead and make a little video, clickbait the titles a little bit, woo woo. Then after that, I'm gonna make a song. So it's like if y'all gonna hate on me at minimum, I gotta make money.
Well, what was the problem? What were they mad about?
They just think I'm a dog now. But that's not what it is though. But I'm not the type of nigga to really get on there and explain and tell nobody business. So it's like I know what it looks like and I'm okay with getting hated on. You feel me? Like I don't really care. Like the internet is fake. And I guarantee you, even though we talking about it right now, which I know you probably gonna use this as your title and shit.
Maybe some title, something in there, yeah?
Yeah, but I mean, you probably gonna bring this shit back up. I know motherfuckers want to hear about it and shit. But other than that, it's like, people forget. I'm still happily where I'm at. Yeah. You know, if it was really a serious situation, like the female I'm dating, I'm pretty sure it's hundreds of thousands of people that want her. You know what I mean? And she has plenty of options. If it was really a serious situation internally, she would have been gone.
Yeah, Halle would have left. Yeah.
Yeah, come on, man. You know what that is? So it's like it's people don't look at that though. So they think she like doing something wrong, but in reality they don't know what's really going on.
Yeah. So, but it's not on purpose. Like it seemed like she wanted the clout. She was coming after it.
Yeah, I just find the whole situation lame. It's like, that's just so, it's just lame to me. Like, as you can see from my end, like, I'm not exposing no messages. That's some real lame shit. Real females ain't doing no shit like that. You know what I mean? Like, just trying to screenshot and show some shit and tweet and get retweets and all that other shit. And then when she see ain't nothing go down and she shut it all down, then it's like, you ain't got nothing else. You feel me? So it's like,
but the blogs and all that stuff, like, I feel like that's, I don't know, like, it seems like the music industry, well, I guess just social media in general, like, people thrive on just that type of attention and that negativity. Like, negativity seems to be, like, because I saw a tweet, which I fully relate to. You tweeted, like, a couple days ago about, like, it doesn't matter if you're super positive, like, no one really gives a fuck. But if you're negative, people are all over it and they're trying to figure it out and they're trying to like make this be something that they want it to be and create these stories. Have you dealt with more like negativity or positivity throughout your career, would you say? Because you obviously know how to spin it.
Yeah, positivity for sure.
Yeah.
I'm rarely hating on. Like, this is my first go around, so
really,
it's kind of a little weird to me. I'm usually the most liked motherfucker. So it's a little different when I'm on the other end of the pole and it's like motherfuckers hating on me, but I'm starting to navigate through it and starting to really figure out how to, you know, deal with it.
Yeah.
It's a whole different audience for me, so it's like
the angry haters.
Yeah, it's like, you know, Twitter makes, I was talking to somebody yesterday, and we was talking about Twitter, and Twitter makes a fan so much more powerful on any other social media. Like, Twitter makes a fan damn near a celebrity.
Yeah,
because you can have 5 followers, you can have 100 followers. You tweet the right shit,
it goes crazy.
And the right motherfucker retweeted it like it, it's over with. Your shit going 5,000 retweets, 1 million views. You know what I mean? You starting a whole scandal.
Everyone sees it. Twitter's fucking powerful, man. I love it.
It is. Now, it's dope though. I fuck with it for that reason. But at the same time, you know, when you get negativity, it's kind of ass. But at the end of the day, that's why I fuck with it. I be on that bitch every day. That's my favorite app.
Yeah. You don't like? Are you heavy on Instagram or?
I like Instagram, but I just post a picture and get off for real.
Yeah.
Like, I might post a little story or something. But I don't know.
What about TikTok? That shit's
TikTok consumes most of my time.
So you're on that.
I don't post on there, but like I post on there, but not as often. I'm just starting to like really post on there.
Yeah.
But like when I wake up, TikTok is definitely like I close that motherfucker, go check out Instagram for a second, maybe Twitter, close them, open TikTok back up, scroll a little more, close it, open it back up. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's hard to get off like of TikTok.
When in between going to the bathroom, come back to it.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
TikTok's tough, man. Like I'm telling you the truth. Like, I literally one day I was scrolling and I remember like I felt like I had to pull myself away from it because it got me so wrapped into it, which is crazy though, because like you gotta think these kids are probably rotting their fucking brains, man. Like that nonstop scroll and just like the attention.
My nephew, he watched YouTube Shorts though.
Same shit.
Yeah, it's same exact thing. Like they all doing the same shit, but like he watched YouTube Shorts a lot. I feel like a lot more kids is on YouTube Shorts versus TikTok. I feel like TikTok is really people our age.
Yeah. Like what content do you enjoy making the most now? Like, what do you have the most besides music stuff? Obviously, like what content on social? Because I still see you do a bunch of vlogs still.
Yeah, no, I like just vlogging. I like just having fun, daily life shit. That's really it. It's like selfless shit, not too forced. I used to do like a lot of like series and shit where I like make up a storyline.
Yeah.
And I kind of like, you know, create like my own little mini series and mini TV show for a second and like just keep doing that. That's fun, but now it's just more so like just day in the life. I feel like that's more personable for my fans and shit.
Why do you think people like you? Like, why do you think you're successful? Because obviously you've been doing this for long enough. You're able to see what works, algorithm, clickbait, all this kind of shit, titles. But why do you think people are drawn to you as a YouTuber?
I think, and I say this with full confidence, I think I'm one of the funniest people alive.
Yo, what the fuck?
I'm funny. Like, I'm funny.
That statement was funny.
If you really understand my humor, like I got like a different type of humor. You know what I mean? Like I got a troll mentality. So it's like my humor is just a little different. It's not forced. You know what I mean? And once you get it, you like, God damn, this nigga funny as hell. So I'm funny, I'm real, you know, I'm relatable. And it's just like, I don't know, like I like watching me.
Damn.
Yeah, on some real shit.
That's how you know it's good content.
Yeah,
anytime I see my content and I'm like, oh, this is funny and it's me, I'm like, that shit's probably really good.
That's what I'm saying. Like I watch sometimes when I edit a vlog or something, I watch it, I'm like, oh, this funny. They gonna like this shit.
You edit all your own stuff still?
Most of it. Yeah. Like I might, cause I got a cameraman now. I just started doing the cameraman shit. I used to just vlog off my phone. I vlogged off my phone for like a whole year.
What the fuck?
Yeah, edit on iMovie on my phone.
What the fuck?
Shit hella easy, but then I got into the cameraman shit and it's way easier. So sometimes like if I'm too tired, I just ask him to cut it up. But I barely edit. I tell him don't even edit for real.
Yeah.
Cause my vlogs now.
Just like I'm raw.
Yeah, it's like raw, hour long type shit.
Yeah, I think people that's coming back a lot more. Like people like that more right now. Like because I remember all this stuff kind of goes in phases of like what's popular, what people like the quicker stuff. I mean, obviously like the Mr. Beast shit insanely viral because it's so crazy, but it's a specific audience for that kind of stuff. Yeah. You think you have like an older audience?
Yeah, my fans grew up. Yeah. I don't like to call them fans, supporters. Yeah. They grew up for sure. Yeah. Everybody that come up to me and like take a picture, man, I've been watching you since I was 14, 15.
Yeah, like, yeah. I get the same shit.
Yeah, so they like, you know, they in their 20s now. But, you know, I got kids that rock with me too, but I definitely have an older fan base now.
Yeah. So, I guess on the music side of things, in relationship to like other content creators, and also, do you think that now, in relationship to music, to be like I don't know, to have a strong following as a music creator, not just like a content creator, you kind of have to do social media. Like I feel like you can't do. I feel like almost now it's like labels will be like, well, they'll probably, if they're going to consider you, they're probably looking at your socials. Mm-hmm.
You can't succeed in the music industry as just being a good artist no more, unless you motherfucking Drake, Lil Baby. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? And you motherfucking Travis Scott and shit, and you ain't, you know, you already passed that threshold of trying to make it. Yeah. And you already so turned and got such a solid fan base that you good. You know what I mean? You ain't really got to get online or somebody like Playboy Cardi or Young Boy. You know what I mean? They fans is just there no matter what. So it's like, if you ain't got that, it's like you have to be on social media. So it's like every song that's on the charts right now got hundreds of thousands of videos on TikTok. Yeah. It's all content.
Yeah. I might piss a lot of people off with this, but why do people like Young Boy so much? Why do you think he's so popular? Like, he's
fire,
like the craziest, man. Huh?
Playing with fire.
No, I'm not saying I don't like him. I'm saying like,
if that nigga fan base crazy.
That's what I'm saying. That's my question. Why? It's not to say that I don't like him. I'm just saying, why is he so fucking like popular? Why is his fan base so crazy?
He just real. He just say whatever. Like that nigga get on the internet and tell you, you know what I'm saying? What he get on the song and tell you what the fuck happened last night, even though it's some crazy shit that a motherfucker wouldn't tell. You know what I mean? Yeah. So he just put all this shit in his music. By the way, I got a song with him called Hood Melody. It just went gold yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, man. Saw that. So, you know.
Have you, out of all these people you've worked with, like who's your favorite that you've worked with? Which is kind of might be a hard question to answer because like they might, you know.
I would say Blueface.
Yeah, he's nice, man. He's a nice dude.
Yeah, he's very misconceptualized from his relationship and what's going on with him right now. But that's a real nigga. Like I fuck with Blueface, like as like a real homie type shit.
Yeah, he's cool. Like I did a pod with him in Steiny, and then he came to the gym and worked out, and he was like not at all how I expected him to be. Nice as fuck.
He's nice as hell, man. He gave me my first real big shot. Like Blueface was my first real big feature.
Yeah. Was it the Calabasas song? Mm-hmm. That shit blew up.
He hit me up. He was like, let me remix that. I'm like, hell yeah. I'm like, I don't know how this, because, you know, it's a whole different style. So I'm like, shit, fuck it. I mean, I don't know how it's going to go, but he put it, I went to the studio. He was like, all right, I'm going to come in right here, and I'm going to come in right here, and boom, and we did it. And he did it right there in the studio. I was like, oh, this shit hard. What the fuck?
Yeah, that song is dope.
Yeah, that shit went up, man. So yeah.
So how does if you could explain this, I don't know if you can, but I think you can. Like, how does music payment work? Like, people make a song, like the engineers get paid, the artists get paid, the label gets paid. Like, how does that break down?
Man,
like the streams.
Music costs so much money to make, bro. That's why the shit don't come out as much. Cause it's like, bro, you got producers out here charging $20,000 for a beat, and then they also want percentages on the back end. Then you got to pay the engineer. Then you got to pay to get it mixed and mastered. Then you got to pay to get it up on the streaming platforms. So it's like, it's just so much different sides of money that come from it. Then you got the publishing side when shit hit the radio and get played at this and that. You know what I mean? Like, It's so much different shit. But I started off independent. So I was independent for like 2-3 years before I even got signed to a label. So I was making a lot of money. Like, you make a lot of money on music. I'm not gonna lie.
So then why'd you go to label?
Because you can't get to that point without a label. You can't get to that Drake level. You can't get to that young boy level. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna get there without a big machine behind you that's gonna put you on these playlists, gonna put you on this. These labels got a whole building of motherfuckers that's just gonna work your song. Make sure that they're gonna do all the little shit that you wouldn't do as an independent artist, or you can't do as an independent artist.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's why you see, like, you couldn't tell me an independent artist right now that's on the charts, that's on top 40 right now.
I see what you're saying.
Couldn't tell me because.
So wait, so how do these playlist things work? Because don't playlists work like if you're on it and it gets a play? Like, let's say if Drake's on it and they play his song, the whole playlist gets a play.
Kind of. It depends on the listener. So I just dropped a song recently called "Way Too Petty." As you know, this whole situation.
Funny.
Yeah, and I drop a lot of songs just on YouTube, but I was like, I'm gonna push this through my label, and they was able to get it on Rap Caviar top 20. Yeah. Just like that. It's all connections. Like, I don't know if it's money involved with the playlist. It might be a retainer. You never know. But, it was so easy for them to get on Rap Caviar, which has like 12, 20 million listeners on it. So it's like, if you get on that playlist, you're good. Like, you on Spotify, you're good. Yeah. Like, if your song's good, it's going to get played. And you're in the mix with motherfuckers like the big hitters. So it's like, once they song get played by they fans on there, your song come next. So you gaining new fans when you get on these playlists. Yeah.
But it doesn't work like I'm thinking. If it works like if someone on there gets a play, then everyone else gets a play. It's just because it's like in rotation.
Nah, it's like if a motherfucker get on your song while they on the playlist, they might not like it and skip it. You never know.
So the song needs a certain amount of play to get like a stream.
30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Yeah, so if they play your song for 30 seconds, it counts as a stream.
Okay. And so the money comes based on, because I mean, I kind of have an idea of this. I've talked to other people about it, but people listening probably think about this kind of stuff. So the money comes based on how many times it gets played and then like how long it gets played?
Nah, once it hit that 30 seconds, you good. That's a stream. You can click off my shit at that point. I already got my stream. But it's how many plays it is. Yeah, it's just like YouTube.
Yeah. So on YouTube, when you drop a music video and it gets like fucking 20 million views or 90 million views, this is just YouTube like AdSense?
That's regular. Yeah, that's regular.
Damn.
Shit. Yeah. It's whole completely different. But Apple and Tidal makes the most money for streaming. Okay. So like you make way more money on CPMs. It's all CPMs. It's just regular shit. So it's like your shit get a lot of views on Apple. You make a lot of money. Spotify is like half that, I think. You still make a lot of money though.
Yeah.
But
what's the most you've ever made from a song? I'm assuming it's the Calabasas one.
Yeah, I dropped that independently. No, I dropped.
You dropped that independent? No.
Yeah, man.
Oh shit.
I dropped it independent. Because look, this what happened. And I so in 2019, I believe, I think that's when I dropped an album called Valedictorian, which was really forced. It was just a bunch of songs. I'm fresh in the industry as a sign artist. Like I put 18 songs on there, not really thinking about the business of it and how much money needs to be spent. And there's a lot of money getting spent. And I'm rushing out an album that, you know what I'm saying, I know in my heart it's not that good. You feel me?
Yeah.
So I put it out, shit ain't do nothing. You know what I mean? It wasn't really nothing crazy, wasn't that good. So, you know, that kind of fucked me up a little bit. And I kind of got put on the shelf at my label. So, you know, even thinking from a business aspect of me owning my own independent label, if I put millions of dollars behind this motherfucker and I make, you know what I'm saying, I don't make it back, then I'm like, okay, let me focus on somebody else. Type shit. So I feel them on that. But after that, I'm like, okay, let me go ahead, get on the ground and start running again. So I just start dropping independently myself.
You were able to be signed and drop independent at the same time?
Yeah, because I'm under the radar at that point. They don't really give a fuck. You got to think about it like it's my label got fucking Future, DJ Khaled, 21 Savage and shit. You know, they got niggas that's really making them millions of dollars. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the shelf, but I ain't finna fall off. Like I'm finna make this shit work. So I just start dropping like once a month, kept going, and I got one. But I got a song that went gold that I dropped independently. It's called Arguments.
Okay.
It's a R&B song. But I signed it over to my label at some point, but I made like $500,000 on it.
On the Calabasas one?
Nah, Arguments.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, Calabasas made a lot of money, but I signed it over to the label to really, you know what I'm saying, make that bitch go.
Yeah.
Feel me? But I dropped it independently because Blueface leaked it. So I was like, I gotta hurry up and just put it out.
Yeah. That shit went crazy. Yeah.
That shit went up. I go over to like Amsterdam and shit and they singing that motherfucker. Yeah. And I didn't really get to experience that because I dropped it in the pandemic. So it's like, when I dropped it, I didn't even know. Like, I still don't feel like it's a huge song until I go somewhere and I hear motherfuckers singing it. Because I didn't get to go to the clubs and get to go performing here and there because we stuck in the house.
Have you toured much?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I went on a tour in 2021. That was my last time. It's been a long time, actually. But I went with Kevin Gates.
Yeah.
For 3 months. We went around the whole United States.
What's the most fun you've ever had on tour?
Depends. I don't know. I don't really have like a favorite tour moment, to be honest. Like it's all fun.
You've done overseas stuff though.
Yeah. I would say that's the most fun I had. I did like a festival tour. Yeah. Where I went like to different countries and shit. Like Amsterdam, Portugal. Where else I go? London. Bunch of weird ass places like in Europe. But it was hella fun. Like European audiences is 10 times better than the US.
Yeah, okay, this is funny because I can relate to it. It's just in the fitness industry. Like, you know, you have things here and it seems like everyone's kind of like, they like you, but they kind of don't like you because they kind of want to like be in your position. And then in Europe, they're just all love.
Yeah, that's the best way to put it. Everybody in that audience looking at you like, I can do this. He hard and shit, but I kind of
I can do this shit.
Yeah, they too cool. So like when you go to Europe, they don't give a fuck. They never see Americans.
Yeah.
So they freaking out when they see. They jumping up, energy crazy. So it's like, yeah, I like performing overseas.
Yeah. Is there anyone that you've met as an artist or like a celebrity that you've been like excited to meet, or anyone that you're excited to still meet?
I met Drake.
Oh, that's dope.
Yeah, what was that like? That was a dope moment for me.
Where'd you meet him at?
I met him at Beyonce's birthday party.
Oh shit!
Yeah,
just like
I met everybody, bro. I didn't met everybody at this point.
Yeah,
but I never met Drake. Like I go out and I see niggas everywhere, but I never met him. And I'm like, bro, this is my favorite artist and shit. Yeah. Like, so I just that was my first time seeing him. I'm like, damn, I gotta say something to this nigga.
Yeah. So top 5 rappers for you.
Top 5. I would say Drake.
Yeah.
People gonna give me bunches, but I don't give a fuck. It is what it is. Like I ain't no fake nigga. Like on some real shit, I didn't grow up listening to older rappers.
I know they're gonna be like, "What about Tupac?"
Yeah, right? It's like, bro, like I was born the year that Tupac passed. Like I wouldn't, you know what I'm saying? I didn't grow up in that era. You feel me? So I would say Drake.
Also, too, fuck what people are saying. People always talk shit.
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. I troll them all day. I don't give a damn. I'll sit up here and tell you a deal. I don't give a damn. It is what it is. But nah, I would say Drake, Future, Young Thug. Them like the top 3 me, man. I would say I might I'm gonna miss somebody for sure.
You said Juice? I like Juice.
Yeah, Juice hard, but I'm gonna put. Let me think. Let me see. Damn. See, when it gets
when it gets dicey.
When you get to that 4 and 5, they're like, "Why you ain't say him?"
Yeah, yeah.
Let me see. I would say.
Just gotta fire it.
Yeah, I'm gonna just say it. Hold on, let me see, cause I ain't gonna lie, bro. I really listen to myself a lot. Like I listen to
shit, okay.
On some real shit. I ain't gonna say me because that's lame.
Yeah.
And motherfuckers would be like, oh, anybody say that. But I ain't gonna say me. Oh, I'm tripping. Kanye West, right?
Yeah.
And then I would say Gunna.
Damn.
I ain't gonna lie, I fuck with Gunna heavy, bro.
Even after all the shit.
Yeah.
Fuck all that, right?
That ain't got nothing to do with me.
Yeah. Why do you think people are so like, I mean, I understand this idea, but also like people are like so crazy on the internet about this like snitching shit that it's like all of a sudden the music is just gone. Like everyone's like, this music is trash now.
Cause you don't really know internally. I feel like niggas that's in that whole situation, in that case, they can speak on it and they can say what they want to say. But like fans, y'all niggas don't know what's going on. Like y'all don't really know what's going on internally. Just like with my situation with the drama that's been going on with me.
Right.
Y'all don't know what's really going on.
Yeah.
So it's like, you can't sit here and judge off that shit. And I'm the type of nigga like, if I fuck with you, I fuck with you. You know what I mean? It ain't got nothing to do with me. And Gunna is like a nigga that really embraced me on some artist shit. Like when I met him, we did a song, it's called Elon Musk. And you know, when I met him, just a real dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he was cool.
Yeah. Elon Musk, speaking of Elon Musk, that's the one guy that I really want to meet as far as like a celebrity or a person. There's no one else really that I'm excited.
I made a whole song about him. I tweeted at him and everything. He never hit me back.
Damn, fuck that. Fuck him. Fuck him. Yeah, it was on Twitter too. Was it Twitter recently?
Nah, I dropped a song like last year.
Yeah, you got to hit it on Twitter again, bro.
Yeah.
Because he's been on that shit. Like he's on Twitter like every day.
I think I'm going to try again. I'm going to try again. I'm going to just spam him and see if he see it.
You should. I know.
He had to hear it at this point, though. But
I'm sure he did.
We're going to see.
Yeah, he plays hard to get. I'd love to get him on the podcast, man. I know they did him on Full Send. They didn't have me on. They fucking played me on that one.
For real?
Yeah, bro.
That's crazy.
Fucked up. It's all good. Fuck it. Yo, so you're thinking about starting a podcast?
Yeah, I am.
Yeah.
I think I'd be a good host.
What would it be, like around music or just around life or?
Just anything, like same shit you doing.
Yeah.
You know, probably come up with something fun to do.
Yeah.
While I'm doing it, but I don't know. I've been thinking about it. I really been thinking hard about it. I just don't want to get too deep into it because I'm extremely passionate about music.
Yeah.
So I kind of been holding off of like doing shit like auditions and shit because I know I can fuck around and take off in the acting world.
Yeah.
And it's like I don't want to take away from my music yet. Like I really want to see if I can really make this shit pop.
But you would get more into acting, it seems, in the future.
I feel like because acting takes a lot of time.
Oh yeah.
Like just being around my girl and shit and just seeing how much work that shit is and like being on set for 2-3 months in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, all day.
Yeah. It's like that shit is real work. So it's like I know I ain't gonna have time for no music.
Yeah. So you'd have to you'd have to like kind of stamp it first before you go and play.
Yeah, I want to super stamp it before I start dipping and dabbing into that industry. YouTube is like do that shit in my sleep.
Yeah.
So it's like I don't see no point of stopping that. You know what the money like.
Yeah, YouTube's amazing, bro.
Yeah, it's like, bro, this is the best job in the world. So why the fuck would I stop?
Yeah, it's honestly a blessing, and it's crazy. This stuff too, though, the podcast trips me out because it's like I was talking to someone about this the other day. Like, I literally get to sit here and like talk to people who are super interesting and like learn about them and like share it, and then that's a way of living for me, which is such a crazy concept.
Yeah, no, it's dope.
It's really, really cool.
You're a good host too, man.
Oh, I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're doing good.
Thank you.
Sure.
So as far as like life and just shit in general outside of music, outside of like content you make, do you do anything that people wouldn't know that you do? Like do you meditate? Do you focus on like mental health? Is it like, do you focus on like physical health? Like, are you active in the gym? Like, are you doing anything that people wouldn't know that you do? Like that you don't put out on the internet? Like you crushing mushrooms and like.
I have started eating mushrooms. I don't do it like often.
I do.
Yeah,
microdose, not like crazy doses all the time because that's unsustainable.
I tweaked a couple times. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I have too. Yeah, I have to.
Bro, I didn't see melted faces and everything, bro. I didn't see some shit. I ain't gonna lie.
No, I have
but
to.
It's dope though, cause bro, I eat a mushroom and I get to crying and shit, bro. I don't cry at all.
Yeah.
Like I don't never cry, bro. It's like it really take your whole ego away.
Yeah, it opens you up.
Yeah, and it's like, heart. Bro, like I ate a mushroom in Hawaii. I never told this story, bro. I ate a mushroom in Hawaii, right? And you know how mushrooms, you supposed to be away type shit. Like you supposed to just be dolo in the cut with your homies, people you love and all that shit.
Yeah.
I'm at the beach and it's like fans coming up to me, but I'm like tweaking, bro. Like,
that's a lot.
I felt like a true bro, I felt like I was on Hollywood Boulevard, bro. I'm like
like bro, you on the sidewalk.
That's what I'm saying, bro. I was tripping, so I had to like I was low key snapping on fans and shit on accident though. Like it wasn't even me trying to like be mean. It's just I'm tweaking out and they talking about pictures and shit, and my fucking vision is everywhere. Like,
bro,
it was crazy, bro. And I had to like sit down, but for some reason, like I was fiending to be in the forest. Like, you ever felt like that?
Yeah,
bro. I was fiending to be by some trees and shit, and I'm like, bro, I really need to find like the trees. Really need. I'm telling everybody I'm around, like, bro, please take me to the forest. You know how
you were
been
on the
Hawaii
beach at the time.
Yeah,
okay.
You been to Hawaii?
Yes, yeah,
yeah. So you know how they forests is like
beautiful.
It's crazy. It look like fucking Avatar and shit.
Yeah.
I'm on the beach at the time around a bunch of people tweaking out like a motherfucker. Like, I'm so uneasy. This is the worst trip ever. So then I finally get to leave, right? And I get to a forest, and bro, I felt like I was in heaven. Like, it was the craziest feeling. Like, I did not want to leave. Like, I was in the forest for like an hour, 2 hours. They like, come on, let's leave. I'm like, just wait. I'm just trying to sit here, bro. It's crazy. Like, I fuck with mushrooms. I ain't gonna lie. I fuck with this shit. It's like it really makes you understand like none of this shit really matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just
what helps you disconnect from the ego of like your relationship to like how you think people should view you, or how you're, you know, like this whole idea of like, am I good enough and all this shit. And it kind of just makes you be like, I'm just me.
Facts, just human. Like I'm here just like everybody else.
And the interesting thing about shrooms to me is always that like it's always how it is. You're just not, your perception is not seeing it that way. And you complicate it with all this other stuff because like we're just in our, you know, our conscious mind going like this. But with the mushrooms, it opens up the subconscious, and it just like allows you to just be more open in general without all those filters of like ego related to, like I said, how people view me or how you want people to view you. And it just makes you more like, oh, this is okay. And the interesting part about it, I was saying, is like, if you could realize that is how your life can always be. It's just hard for people to make that connection. And it's hard for people to let that sustain because it's so easy to get caught up in the negative shit or what someone's saying or like how, you know, oh, am I good enough? And that's the real reason why I really like mushrooms, is because like over time, the more that I've like experienced them and done the microdosing, obviously I'm not saying I'm taking crazy amounts every day. That's not, I don't think that's sustainable.
You do it every day.
No. So like what I'll do is typically like, I'll take like 0.5 to like 1 for like a month and then stop for months. So I'll do it like kind of just therapeutically where I'm taking like microdoses and then I'll stop. I don't take it every day all the time.
So what did that do for you? Because I just eat the raw mushroom and shit.
Yeah, no, so I'm doing that as well. But when I take them in those amounts, I grind them up so that it's like an actual weighted amount. So it's very specific. And I'm not just taking like a bunch of mushrooms. Because I obviously have done that where I've taken like, you know, 3.54 grams and I'm just like, I'm on a trip and it's like 6 hours and it's the whole day. But I'm not doing that every day. That's completely unsustainable. Yeah. I'm taking the microdoses that just, you get this effect, this overall sense of, you know, on the mushrooms, like when you're either coming down or coming up and you're just like, oh man, everything's good. You're not all visual yet. You just feel good. Okay. And that's, you kind of get that little bit of sense while you're doing it. And like I said, overall, you get closer to that just idea, like you're able to make it more real more often than not, that like everything's okay, kind of like no matter what. Yeah. And it kind of allows you just to be more present, to just kind of continue to go forward with whatever you want to like achieve. Yeah. Instead of complicating like where you're going to get to and how long it's going to take and all, and who thinks about what about this. And because that's what we do. Yeah. We complicate the shit out of everything. And it's that's like the people who get most success in their life are the ones who are able to like focus on their shit right now and block out all the noise and just go forward. And I think that's the thing that I've really gotten from it.
Yeah, nah, I gotta get into the microdosing shit.
Yeah, that's game changing, man.
Yeah, I gotta try it.
Have you done any other psychedelics?
Nah, I'm scared.
Yeah.
I'm terrified.
Have you heard of ayahuasca?
I heard of that, yeah.
Yeah, I've done that.
How did it make you
That's
feel?
Intense.
What happened? What happened to you?
I don't even know how to. It's so different because if you've never done it, it's really hard to tell you what it's like. But just imagine, like, I guess I could relate it to mushrooms for you because you have that experience. You know, have you ever been in a mushroom trip and you're like, oh, this is a little too much. Mm-hmm. So imagine you kind of like, depending on the person, because like I've done it a few times now, and the second time was a lot more calm than the first time. I think the first time I was really afraid of like what was going to happen. So I had this built up tension of like, is this going to be too much? And like, I hear all these bad, crazy things and things happen to people. And I worried about all that. So when it hit me, it was like, everything was good. Like imagine my high was like this. Everything felt like really good. And it was like, damn, it's pretty good. And then it's almost like I blinked and I was up here and it was very scary because I was like, whoa, this is way too much. It was because you didn't feel like this, like, oh, it's getting more and then it's getting less. It was like, oh, this is pretty good. And then it was like 10,000 out of like, you know, if it was like 100 down here, it's like 10,000. I was like, oh, fuck. And my brain was just like going crazy. And it like took me a really like, I don't even know how long because your reference of time is completely gone.
So it's like mushrooms.
Yeah. And so then you're like, I don't know how long I was in that moment where I was like, just trying to calm myself down. Mm-hmm. But once I kind of did it's definitely the most like, it's the most confronting. Like all the things that you've been stressing about, it's like, it puts it all really, really like in your face. It doesn't really allow you to like look around it. So you have to kind of like work on those, like focus and think about those things and like really go through them and go like, well, why am I feeling this way? Why do I worry about this? Why is this a problem? It's okay. And you have to go through it. And it's a little bit tough because sometimes those things can be really tough to go through. And it, you know, you could be really emotional because you're like forced to deal with things. But I think that's why it's so healing.
So you cry and shit?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, bro. Oh, shit. Yeah, but like you get done and you're like, oh, fuck. I needed that. Like in your perspective.
Did it change you a little bit?
Yeah. For
in
sure.
a good way?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, man.
I might fuck with it. I might do it.
Yeah. It's supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
You know, it's not, it's like those things. It's like everything that's tough in our lives. Obviously, we know the shit that makes us better. The shit that when it's tough, like we fucking spend time, we get through it, we get better, we grow.
How do it like how do you take it?
So it's like a plant that they like a root, a plant that they basically cook down into like a kind of like a viscous, like a shot almost. Like you could drink it in different, you know, different types of containers, but it's basically like a thicker liquid, and it doesn't taste too good.
Yeah, that sounds scary.
But it's like, it's dope, man. You got to do it in the right setting. You don't do it with like a taito or a shaman, someone who's actually like putting you through it. You're not just like drinking it with your boys chilling, you know. Oh, okay. It's a whole ceremonially done. And
so what they do when you tweaking out? What the shaman do and shit?
It's like, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
Did he take it with you?
No, yeah, he did.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they did. So they're kind of like on the same page. Obviously, like, cause I talked to him prior. I'm like, hey, this is where I'm at. So he kind of probably had some idea of like how I might react, how I've reacted to other things in the past. So like they kind of aware, like, you know, I guess the thing that I remember him saying was like, you wanted this. And it was true. Like, this is what I was coming to do, was to try to deal with this, was try to get through those things in my life that I've like held on to. So you hear
where
that.
You got to go to do it. Like
I did it privately. So I had someone just come here and do it with me.
You did it at the crib.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. So you can just do it privately.
Your vision be fucked up?
Your what?
Your vision?
It does give you visuals, but it's not as intense. Mushrooms are a little more intense, I would say, visuals. Okay. It's more like you close your eyes and you're seeing stuff. Like, it's crazy, bro.
Oh my God.
You love it, dude.
Yeah, I ate mushrooms at night. So
you eat mushrooms at night? That shit keeps you up then.
Yeah, I was up all night, literally all night. But I was like seeing shit, like
really, recently. Have you done it recently?
Probably like 3 months ago, something like that, 2-3 months ago. But yeah, I was seeing shit, bro. Like, but it's cool. Like, I'm more comfortable with mushrooms.
Yeah. So
I don't know. Yeah, I might try that shit.
I mean, if you could do that, you could do this. It's just like knowing that it's just different. It's completely different, but the outcome is like it's greater for sure.
Yeah, I'll fuck with like the natural shit. You know, like plants and fucking mushrooms and shit. Yeah. But I never did like no crazy like chemical drugs.
Yeah, no, I'm not a fan.
I ain't trying to get fried out here, you know.
No. Fuck no, bro. There's so many drugs that are just like, I like psychedelics. I like that, like you said, the plant medicine. This kind of stuff is nice, but Yeah, the you know, cocaine, hair, all this other shit's insane.
Yeah,
People
motherfuckers get fried like a motherfucker.
Ruin their life with that shit.
That's what I'm saying.
Well, do you drink?
Yeah. I don't drink like that. Recently, I have been having a little drink here and there.
Yeah.
But I kind of got into the wine. I'm with my grown man shit now. So I'll be drinking red wine and shit now. It's cool.
I don't know why people fuck wine. I like wine sometimes, but I'm 33 and I still don't really like. I can't get into it.
I'm trying to tell you, bro. Next time you go out to dinner, get some red wine. Just ask for the sweetest they got. They gonna bring you some shit. Just drink it. You know what I'm saying? You just feel. Yeah, you just feel it. You just feel like you doing something. It feels more classy than liquor. It feels cleaner,
sure.
and you don't get headaches.
Well, I used to get bad. I remember when I was younger. Well, when I drink, I'll probably drink too much when I was younger. I shouldn't have been drinking it. Yeah, because I feel like the sulfates in wine will give you headaches.
Yeah, but you drink a couple glasses of some good wine, you be straight. Wine is low key better than liquor.
But you were just in Italy, and I feel like the wine there is better because there's no preservatives there. Mm-hmm. So you were probably feeling it out there, like this is dope.
No, I drink wine even before that.
Oh, out here,
yeah, I've been drinking wine. So, I just started like a few months ago, type shit. But it's like I fuck with it better than liquor. It just feels better. Yeah.
So your girl makes music too, right? Mm-hmm. Would you guys ever make music together?
Yeah, we have before. But she ain't got no solo music out. So once her solo music come out, probably make some shit together.
Is she working on that kind of stuff too?
Yeah, she got some fire ass music.
Yeah.
I think she gonna be one of the biggest artists in the world.
Really?
For sure, 100%. 100%.
Damn.
On some Adele shit. Like,
really? That's massive.
I ain't gonna lie. I'm not even being biased. Like, I tell her this all the time. I'm like, your shit is like next level. Cause she can really sing. Like, I can harmonize and shit. You throw a little auto tune on me and shit. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I can get a gold record. I could do my shit. But her
shit. She sing a cappella.
Yeah, she can sing.
Damn,
it's crazy. But no, her shit is gonna be next level. I'm excited.
Yeah, that's cool. That's really cool. And it seems like once you conquer this music stuff more, you probably want to get into acting. Like you were saying earlier.
Yeah, like
what roles would you do?
I want to do a horror movie so bad. That's like my bucket list.
Why?
I don't know. Like I want to be in like a Jordan Peele horror film.
Like Nope or some
crazy,
shit?
Yeah, like some crazy shit. Like I know how I kill it too. And I know it'd be a big deal because everybody that knows of me or know me would be like, damn, this motherfucker really acting in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of like what I want to do. I want to get into a horror film, maybe some comedy or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I've always liked to ask people this who like have like really great success and who've done things, and you've done a lot of things like that. You just like you wanted to do them and you did them and you just keep going. Did you, before you did all of this stuff, did you believe like when you were younger, before you had any, or you were even close to doing this, that like there was more for you? Like, did you have that sense?
What you mean?
Like, did you believe that? I don't know, like, I remember being younger and thinking like, damn, I don't want to like do normal shit. Like, I want to do something great. I want to try to do something different. I want to, like, did you have that sense of yourself?
Yeah, for sure. Like, when I was younger, like I used to have a job. A lot of people haven't worked. You worked a job before?
Yeah, I have. Yeah.
So I used to work TJ Maxx, Kroger's, work those jobs. And just working there is just like, I know this ain't it. I know this can't be like.
Yeah, well, I was working at Quiznos.
Yeah, bro. Like, I know I ain't finna be putting these sensors on these clothes for the rest of my life. You know? And it's like, I'm not finna be in no cashier all my life. And I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like 9 to 5s is the easy way out in a way. Because it takes a lot to get to this point that I'm at, that you at. You know, it takes a lot of creativity. You really your own boss type shit. Yeah. So it's like you really got to switch your mindset versus a 9 to 5, and you got it all set there for you. All right, pull up this time, do this and that, whoop whoop. Yeah. And it's like you're not really thinking for yourself for real. You just showing up and doing what you're told to do. Yeah. Which is, I feel like it's easier than creating your own path and your own wave and shit.
Of course.
So it's like I don't know. Just working at those jobs, I just knew that wasn't it, and I just knew like. I wanted to do more. Even when I went to college, before I got to college, I knew I wasn't going to finish. Yeah. I went to college just because I wanted to go to college and experience it, and my homies was going to college and shit, and I'm like, let me go freshman year, which I don't regret because that's really how I blew up in college. So it's like I just wanted to gain those social skills, and then, but in the back of my head, I knew I wasn't gonna stay there.
Like, what did you think you were gonna do before it all?
I just knew, like, so my first YouTube check was $200 when I was working at TJ Maxx. As soon as I got that, I quit.
You're like, this is it. I made it.
Yeah, because I'm like, if I can make $200 doing a fucking video, that means I can make $2,000.
Yeah.
If I can make $2,000, that means I can make $20,000. If I make $20,000, I know I can make $200,000. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I'm just thinking like that. I'm like, if I really quit this shit that I'm working 8 hours at and put all my time into this video shit, I know I could take this to the next level. So I went from $200 to $700 my next check. Yeah. And it just went up from there. So I'm in college making $700 freshman year a month. Then it got to $1,000. You know, that's a lot in college. I ain't gonna lie. Like it sounds very little now, but in college where your shit really paid for, obviously you're taking out loans and shit, but that's $1,000 I'm just putting in my pocket. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. It got to a point where I don't know how to explain it for real.
But why? So my question to you about this is, why do you think people have so much fear around like foregoing the traditional like 9 to 5 or foregoing like, you know, that job that's stable to try something that like probably a lot of them really want to do? Because that's the thing. A lot of people watch this content, watch these podcasts and just stuff in general, and a lot of people like, I don't know if it's like 80% of people now want to be like a social creator. Like they want to be on the internet somehow. But why do you think people are so afraid to take that leap? And why were you not afraid? Like for you to go $200, I'm good. If I can do 200, I can make this. Like I understand what you're saying. Mm-hmm. But to take the leap though away from something that's like solid, to be like, fuck it, I'm just going to try it. Mm-hmm. Like, why do you think it's hard for people to get that mentality? Because more people go, well, this is safe.
Yeah, people too safe. That's what I feel like. I feel like people that say, oh, this is solid, they playing it too safe. And you feel like, oh, I got to make sure I can pay my bills and I can do this and that. Like, you got motherfuckers that spend every dollar that they got to fucking follow a dream. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then, you know, it's a hit or miss. If you hit, you good type shit. So it's like, I feel like just people is not risky enough. I was very risky. Like, I'm like, okay, I'm going to quit this job.
Why do you think you were risky?
I just wanted more. Like, I just didn't want to live like that. Like, like Pontiac, Michigan is like, we don't even have a mall. Like, it's a very small city. Fuck. And it's like, you know, it's the hood. You feel me? So it's like, it ain't nowhere that you really want to be. And then when I was younger, in 2014, my brother passed. So it's like, that kind of really put shit in perspective for me. I'm like, damn, like, I can't live like this. You know what I mean? I'm not finna.
How did he pass?
You know. Yeah. Yeah. So it's like, it is what it is.
So that made you feel like I gotta figure this out.
Yeah. Yeah. That kind of really put some fire into me. Like, that really put me in position to really start going up. Cause it was like, I'm like, man, this could be me. You know what I mean? Like, if I fuck around and just stay here and you know what I'm saying, I could fuck around and just get stuck in this city. It's a lot of motherfuckers that I grew up with, went to high school with, they still doing the same shit. Yeah. It's like, I don't know how niggas do it. It's just,
that's the question, right? That's the thing I'm trying to figure out. Like, and obviously to inspire people to, if they see this, to think that they can do it as well. Like, why do you think there are certain people who just say like, because even your circumstances and seeing and experiencing what you experienced and be like, I don't want this to be my life. I want to move away from this. And you were in it, but now you're not. Completely different circumstances, and because you made that decision. Why do you think it's hard for people to understand that they can do it too?
I don't know, man. I just feel like people are just not risky enough. People don't believe in themselves. I feel like it starts with you believing in yourself. It starts with you really saying, okay, I can do this shit. I can do the impossible. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's a mental thing where you really got to just sit down and be like, okay, I want to make it to the millions. You know what I mean?
I feel like there's just some people that just wired different.
Yeah, they just too safe. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like, motherfuckers wait for you to do it, and then they want to do it. They don't want to be the first to do it. I was the first to do it, especially from my city, from my whole family. Like, I was the first to do it, and then after I did it, you know, my family started doing it. So it's like that's how I did it. You know, I feel like when you the first to do something, you get the best of it type shit.
I see.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
So you know, I'm in a good position right now because I started this shit.
And you love it more than even when you started it. Like you still have the same passion for like all this content creation, music, everything, or has it changed at all?
My passion really lies with music. I'm not gonna lie. Like that's really my real passion is. But I love doing YouTube for the person that's watching right now. They want to do it too. Yeah. They, you know what I'm saying? They want to get inspired. Like I do a lot of inspirational, motivational talks in between my vlogs and shit. And it's a lot of people that come up to me and be like, bro, you changed my life, bro. Like, man, I just made $1 million, bro. I made my first $1 million now. You know what I'm saying? Like amazing. People that really grow up watching me and shit. And that's what I really like enjoy from it at this point. Like, you know, the money great, obviously. But it's like that's where I really, you know what I'm saying? That's where the real enjoyment come from.
Yeah, I get it. There's a couple more things before you go, but what's with this like voice? Is it fake? It's a fake voice.
Nah.
Yeah,
it ain't fake.
But it's like clearly a fake voice. Nah. You gotta tell the truth, bro. That's not your real voice.
It is though. That's the crazy part. Yeah, that's my real voice.
Good voice control. It's actually really impressive.
Yeah, a lot of people think like it's like edits and shit, but it's real. You feel me? So it's like, I don't know. I just get insecure about the shit. Yeah. I don't really like talking about it too much.
Okay. So you use the regular voice just because it's more like.
It's more like.
Yeah.
It's like more applicable. How you say it? Applicable?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So more relatable. They're like, oh,
it's like, it's cool. I make music in this voice, but like, if I was to like.
Really use this voice, motherfuckers would be like, that don't even match him. You feel me? So I don't really like using it for real. I just see. Yeah, I keep that shit tucked. I don't really like showing people, but I fuck with you, so I'm gonna use it.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Yeah, man. Did you get any audience questions from Natalie? Oh, nice. You sent it to me. All right, so at the end of every episode, we got questions from the viewers. So we're gonna do 3 real quick. And if you guys want to send your questions, you can send them at askrawtalk@gmail.com. We appreciate the love. So this guy said, I'm 22 and I've been in a relationship for 9 months. And my girlfriend is great and amazing, but I feel like something's missing. She's super loyal. My family loves her. She loves working out and eating healthy. Even with all that, I still feel empty and don't know whether I should stick it out and try to work things out or to move on. I feel bad because she is the sweetest person you'll ever meet and hasn't done anything wrong. That's dismal. That's so dismal, bro. I mean, you're 22. It just honestly sounds like you're not that interested. That's what that sounds like.
Nah, I think he on some shit where he want to focus on himself.
Yeah, I mean,
that's what I think the underlying problem is.
Based on what he's saying.
Yeah, I feel like he probably not in the position he is where he want to be in life.
Yeah, I think he's 22.
He feel like he finna fuck around and get married type shit, and he ain't ready for that.
I mean, I don't really know. There's not really a question here. It's like he was just kind of saying. There was no question mark. It was just kind of like, this is what's happening. I mean, at the end of the day, man, you got to follow your heart. Like, if you feel like it's not for you or it's not going to work now, and then, bro, I mean, move on. Maybe if you could revisit it later. But sometimes giving things time to cook for yourself can make more sense if you're going to come back into a relationship. But, I mean, at 22, it's hard to.
That's very young, though.
Yeah. Super young.
Yeah. Do what you want to do, man.
Yeah. Okay, so we got another one. All right. Hey, Brad and listener. Longtime pod listener, huge supporter of the brand. Keep it up. My question is pretty basic, but it seems complicated. I'll be 22 soon, and recently, 22-year-olds, and recently went out to a club and met a girl. This is getting good. Okay. Not the best place to meet a girl. Before I read the rest of this, I'll say that first off. Our friends kind of put us together, and we did end up hooking up that night. Okay. We exchanged socials. And we've been talking very lightly ever since. However, she lives a few hours away from me during the college semester, but lives fairly close to me when she's back home. My question is, how do I keep a conversation going with her even though there isn't too much to talk about? I don't want to be overbearing with questions to her, but I also want to keep her invested, and I can't tell if she is yet. Neither do I want to ask the wrong one and be her dry. What the fuck? Neither do I want to ask the wrong one and her be dry. Oh, he's talking about questions. He don't want her to be dry. So this guy's just asking for game right now. So he's 22. He met a girl at the club. They hooked up that night, and he's trying to figure out how to keep her engaged, like with him as far as like, and she lives 2 hours away.
She in college?
Yeah, they must be. They're probably around the same age, I'd say. 22.
So she's in college and he isn't, or what?
I think he is as well.
But they don't go to the same college.
Yes, they go somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, she probably talking to somebody else.
Yeah, I mean, let's keep it real. Like, let's just keep it real.
Yeah, now she in college, she getting hit. She talking to somebody else for sure, right? I wouldn't even. If a girl wants you, bro, they gonna be on you type shit. They should be the one trying to figure out the conversation, not you.
Yeah.
So it's like, I would say, bro, you
think that in all cases?
I think if as a man, if you did, especially if he already hit him, it's like, if you already hit him and she ain't on you, you ain't do enough. You know what I mean? You ain't do a good enough job. So it's like, she probably get hit by somebody else at this point.
Yeah.
Because you wasn't memorable enough.
Yeah.
So if I was him, I'd just say, fuck it.
Charge it to the game. Yeah.
Go back to the club.
Yeah. Also, meeting girls at the club is not the best idea.
That's what I'm saying. Especially you meet her at the club and hit them. It's like, she done did that before.
Yeah.
For sure.
Like, do you think, like, I've always wondered this. Like, I mean, I kind of know the answer. I want your perspective, though. But do you think people go to the club anything other than trying to, like, fuck? Like, no one's going to the club trying to, like, create a good relationship.
I don't know. Because I feel like.
Like, can you meet a good girl at the club? I don't think so.
You can't. I think you can. Especially if, like, she with all her girlfriends. You never know. They probably just dragged her out. And, you know what I'm saying? She probably don't go out that much. Yeah, so now, if it's a reoccurring female that you see every weekend and she in the club, then obviously she doing something in that motherfucker.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. It's a lot of girls that go to the club to really just vibe with their homegirls type shit.
You actually believe that?
Yeah, I believe
No.
it. Or they got boyfriends, right? They go to the club to vibe with their girls. They get drunk, and then they go home to their boyfriend.
Damn.
That's how I think. I don't think every girl go to the club to get hit. I don't think so. Not in 2023. It's too much.
I feel like it's more so in 2023.
Think so?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's like, I don't know. It depends on the caliber of female. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like, what type of female we talking about? You know?
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, we talking about, different calibers to this shit.
Yeah, okay. That's fair. One more question. It says, I really need help. Long story short, I'm in love with my friend, parentheses, female. Okay. Okay. I've been going to co-op school with her. I've been going to co-op school for the past 3 years, and I don't think she has. What is co-op school?
I don't know.
I've been going to co-op school for the past 3 years, and I don't think she has any idea. We've been sitting together ever since we met, and we've only been. How old is this motherfucker? Sitting together? Ever since we met, and we've only been taking classes together so we could be together. But around last year, right before I was going to ask her to junior prom, she's young. She got a boyfriend, and they have been unhappily together ever since. Yo, this is funny. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to laugh at this. It's just funny the way he wrote this. She always tells me about how much she hates him and hates the thought of them being together, but still hasn't broken up with him. She often voices about how much it revolts her at the thought of them having a relationship beyond boyfriend and girlfriend. And I still have feelings for her, but I don't know what to do. Bro, what? This guy tripped me out with this question.
Yeah.
Leave her? She's with some dude. What do you mean? She got a boyfriend. I don't even know how to answer that question.
But
he wants this girl, obviously, and she got a boyfriend who's saying, like, she's not fucking with him, but she's clearly still with him.
He got a chance, though. If a girl is telling you about her issues in her relationship, that means she low-key wants you.
Yeah. That's actually true.
Yeah, because in reality, bro, like, it ain't no such thing as, like, male best friends. Like,
yeah,
as a man, it's like, you know what I'm saying, you attracted to females, so it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Even though y'all friends, like, it's really
male best friends is bullshit. That doesn't exist.
You just holding back temptation. That's all it is.
Yeah, or like you didn't get what you thought, so you sticking around and
she feels the same way. So it's like, somewhere in her heart, somewhere in her soul, she likes him too.
Yeah.
He just got to be a man and make the first move.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's some good advice.
For sure.
That's very real for sure. Yeah, dude. I mean, just be like, I don't know. I guess I would tell her like, yo, fuck this dude. And if she says fuck him and goes with you, then there you go. It's game. Wasn't meant for him.
Right.
That's it.
I got one more question before we get off of here.
Yeah, go for it.
So I wanna get deep in the gym. Like I'm trying to like really cut up type shit.
Yeah.
And like really cock deep. I just seen Creed and shit.
You just watch Creed, you're like, fuck, I
Creed,
need that.
I'm like, these niggas.
Yo,
I ain't finna be going to the movie. You know what I'm saying? And you ain't finna be taking y'all shirt off while I'm at the movies with my girl and shit. Y'all niggas all cut up and shit. So I'm like, I need to get in the gym and really cut up. So I'm trying to figure out like what I need to do.
As far as what?
Because my shit, I got a good foundation. Like I'm good. Yeah. It's just I'm not a gym head. Yeah. You know? So it's like I'm trying to figure out like what's the 1 or 2 workouts that I should be doing like consistently every single day. I got a gym membership and shit, but it's like what do I need to do when I go in there to really like lock in and how long it's gonna take?
Yeah. First off, you should come to my gym. I just opened it in Encino. I could put you through a workout, so I can like show you some stuff to like just to do. But it's hard for me to tell you right now. There's just one thing you could do every day, because then it would get kind of like that's too much to do the same thing every day. But I will say that if we're talking about most important exercises to never skip is going to be like squatting, deadlifting, and pull-ups, and benching obviously. But at the same time, like the deadlifting, the squatting, the pull-ups is gonna do 10 times more for you than like pretty much everything else. If you challenge yourself at those lifts. Then obviously the diet is important for this muscle building, whatever you want, depending on like your goal. But yeah, man, I could put you through some stuff and show you what to do. And then if you can just continue it, you'd be solid. And then if you're able to keep the diet, like you could fuck off every once in a while. You don't have to eat solid every single day all the time. It's just more like 80% of the time, more often than not. And you'll start to see that progress.
Okay.
But yeah, it's hard. It's hard for me to just give you like this is it. You just do this one thing, because it just doesn't really work that way. Yeah. And it also, everything works to a degree, to a point, and then it kind of stops, and you kind of have to like look at what you had been doing and then go, okay, how could should I do more reps, more weight? You know, how should I change up my exercises? And because like I said, everything works and it stops and then it slows down. You kind of have to like learn how to continue to change it. But I can give you something that you can just kind of do for time, and then you'll be able to see progress and then come back, revisit, change it. And if you can stay consistent with the food portion, which is probably the easier part, because you just kind of get a few ideas of what is solid, what you like, and kind of mix and match it, you'd be solid. Okay. But you just have to be consistent, just like how you are making music, whatever you're good at, YouTube, you just do it, and it's like every day.
How long you be in the gym?
Typically probably like an hour and a half is all you really need. I mean, I be in the gym like probably a couple hours, because I film content, I bullshit a little bit, but like training, like an hour and a half at most.
Okay. All right.
I mean, and it's like the thing about the gym, man, is like, it's just going to like, we talked about mushrooms and stuff earlier for your brain. Like the gym is going to do everything else for your body, like in a really positive way. That's going to make you better at everything else. So it just always makes sense to have that be a part of your routine. Even if obviously we're talking like you want to fit some role, or if you're thinking about acting in the future, trying to look a certain way, whatever, obviously that structure of your training may change a little bit, but overall life, like it just makes sense to be in the gym no matter what. Yeah. Like a part of your day. It's just going to make you better.
Do your bones crack?
Do my bones crack?
Like your elbow type shit?
Nah.
My elbow be cracking.
Nah.
You think that's from like lack of the gym?
Yeah, it's like being a bitch.
Straight?
Cracking bones. Nah, I'm fucking with you. I don't know. It could be something.
I don't know. My elbow be cracking and shit, and I'm like, damn.
Well, that's probably from when you fucking beat up
Nate Wyatt.
Yeah. You fucked him up.
Yeah.
I was there. I saw that.
Yeah, that was fun.
That shit was fucking. Fuck, man.
Yeah. Wait, hold on. Before I get off.
Yeah.
How you feel about the Jake Paul fight?
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah. Well, I feel like he finally fought like a real boxer. And I think it kind of showed. I mean, I thought for sure Jake was going to win just because like the way it goes. And because he didn't get, none of them got knocked out. I was like, oh, they're going to give it to Jake because Jake's worth way more money and thinking like business wise. But I mean, I think Jake's improved like tremendously. I just think like, I don't know, maybe if you look at all the other people he boxed, they just weren't real boxers, not really like ready or like skilled in that art. Yeah. And it kind of showed. Yeah. Like I said, when he boxed, even though Tommy's a real boxer, but he's boxed also like, and they do this typically for boxers and boxing in general, where like they'll have them box like really like not great fighters to like build them up so they don't fuck their you know, because he's got a big name, the Fury name, right? You don't want him to be like 1-2. You want him to be like, you know, whatever and 0. So I understand how they play that game, and they both play that game. And I think, I mean, what Jake's doing is incredible because it's like he's an entertainer more than anything. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I don't know. What did you think about it?
I don't know. I feel like
he kept doing the same shit. He kept doing this.
Yeah, I think it was a different type of ball game for him. Like I was waiting on that punch, but you can't really depend on that punch.
Yeah, that one punch.
Yeah, but if he would have hit him, it would have been over. It's just Tommy. I think Tommy Fury got lucky in a way. Like he didn't get hit by that, but he definitely got skill for sure.
Yeah,
I didn't expect him to win.
Well, all the other guys he boxed, like they weren't moving. They weren't like Tommy was like in there like a boxer.
Yeah, he was moving, jabbing, hooking, all types of
shit. I was like, God damn.
I was like, what the fuck? I ain't expect him to be nice.
Yeah, he was. The first 2 rounds, I was like, oh, Jake's fucked.
I know. Like I was like, if this go to distance, I knew Jake was gonna lose when they went to decision for sure.
I thought he wasn't just because of the money. Nah. I thought, you know what I'm saying? Like
they can't rob. You can't get robbed like when it's like too close. Yeah, like, it was like that was obviously Tommy Fury that won that for sure. Even besides the knockdown to me wasn't even really like a knockdown. It was more so like a slip.
Yeah,
but they counted it anyway to like give, you know, he had a chance at that point, but I knew Tommy won. That shit was just crazy. But at the end of the day, I don't think Jake can lose.
Yeah, I don't think there is losing.
Yeah, like that's your show.
If he loses again though in a rematch, I think it'll be bad for like the trajectory of it. I think right now it doesn't matter. I think right now he comes back. If he could rematch and win, it's like same Jake Paul like #1 type shit. If he comes back and loses, it's gonna be.
If I was Jake, I would fight KSI.
That's the #1 fight right now. I wouldn't even do the rematch. I would just try and fight KSI.
I wouldn't even fight Tommy. Well, Tommy Fury, that's easy money, I guess. But I think him fighting Tommy Fury would be low key like a risk.
That's what I'm saying. If he loses again, people are gonna be like, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, then they ain't gonna try to play him.
That's so what I was saying. The same thing. I was thinking that if he fights KSI right now, best possible payout, best possible everything.
Yeah, I think he should fight KSI, then fight Tommy Fury.
Yeah,
because I feel like KSI is great, but that's a more like I think that's an easier fight for him type shit.
For Jake, yeah. Mm-hmm. But I don't know if KSI will do it.
I don't think KSI can beat Jake Paul. I fuck with KSI though.
Yeah,
I don't think he can. I don't think he because KSI haven't fought no crazy motherfuckers at all.
And it's like every time I've seen him in the ring with all the other people, he's beat him so quickly. It's like he's not really getting tested.
You can't really see, like you don't know how, because you got to think about it, bro. Like going 8 rounds. Oh my God! When I fought Nate Wyatt, bro, I almost died in the 3rd round. Nobody knew, bro.
I was standing right there,
bro. I was dead. Like if I was in the ring with somebody that really be throwing them motherfuckers,
yeah, you going down there like just getting smacked.
They probably, you know what I'm saying? My rap career probably be fucked right now. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, if you lost
that's what I'm saying. So it's like
you really did put that on the line.
I did.
That was intense because like I was thinking like, damn, if he gets beat up, it's gonna be like really bad.
It's gonna be over.
You knew that. You said fuck it.
I knew it. I'm like, man, I gotta take that risk. Same thing when we talked about the whole podcast, where you gotta take risk, you know? And that shit benefited me.
Yeah.
Chances make champions. But yeah, if I was Jake, I'll fight KSI. That's a bigger fight. And it's easier.
Yeah.
You know, you got a better chance because I think Tommy Fury would beat KSI.
Really?
I think Tommy Fury low key nice. I ain't gonna lie. I wasn't expecting that. I think he nice for real. So I think KSI and Jake Paul is like a more equal fight.
And I think the last fight that they'll make, that Jake will make, will be against Logan.
That'd be lit.
I feel like they'll do it. Yeah, that would be massive. Like no matter what happens, if they fought, it'd be insane.
That'd be lit. That'd be crazy.
I think it's gonna happen.
They for sure gonna do that shit. They smart as fuck, but you can't expect them to really be fighting each other though. Really, I don't know. You think Jake Paul would knock his brother out?
Yeah, I think they. I think they would love to fucking.
That'd be fucked up.
Yeah, but I think they're so competitive.
Yeah,
you know, I think their whole life they've been competitive with each other. Yeah, I think if they get in the ring, they'd this is it's a little personal. They'd let it out, dude. Yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be cool to see. I'd love to see it. Would you ever box again?
Yeah, it depends though. Like, I don't know. It's dedication. Like the fight that I did, I only trained for 2 weeks. I trained for 2 weeks, and them 2 weeks was hard, bro. Like it was like, and then like the morning of my fight, the day of my fight, I went to the strip club. I had a hosting. I had to go. Like I'm making money, so I had a hosting. I'm up to 5 a.m.
in Miami.
Yeah, in Miami. Got sick. Like I was fighting with a cold. So it's
the cold hit you harder, huh?
Yeah. So it's so if I box again, I feel like I gotta really, really take it serious and really like lock in, be in the camp for like 6 weeks, 8 weeks at least, and really do it. Cause obviously they gonna want me to fight somebody that's decent.
Yeah.
So, which Nate White was pretty decent. He hit me one good time.
Yeah.
He got me one good time, but that was it.
And he looked afraid to throw his hands. That's what it looked like.
Yeah, like he I ain't gonna sit here and shit on him because he could be decent.
Yeah.
If he really work at it, which I'm pretty sure he stopped training and he stopped boxing too.
Probably said fuck it, yeah.
Yeah, but nah, that was a decent opponent for me. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah.
He was cool. He just not experienced in like throwing punches and winning the judges over.
Yeah. He's fighting a little scared, I think.
Yeah.
Nice guy. Good guy. Well, that's it, man. I appreciate you coming. I appreciate you sharing. Sure, and like genuinely for real. And we should get into the gym. We'll set something up for you to just fully understand.
Yeah, hit
see
me.
so you can set like a little path.
I pull up, man. You know, trying to get my workout on, trying to get cock diesel, trying to get like you and shit, man. Yeah.
I appreciate you, man, for real.
For sure, bro.
Very good to meet you too, officially.
Yes, sir, man.